On the flip side, co-ops have some similarities to not-for-profits, but also some differences. From a member perspective, you will sometimes see that they tend to look a bit more similar in the sense that non-profit organizations will often have a membership. You have to pay a member fee to become a supporting member of like a local environmental charity or something, for example. So that membership character can be quite similar. The primary difference is that nonprofit corporations tend and almost always have a very strong community focus. So what they are doing is benefiting the community at large, whereas with co-ops, it's around meeting the needs of its members as a first and foremost primary mandate. With some cooperatives, they also meet a community need by meeting their member needs. So a good example would be something like a child care cooperative or housing cooperative, where by providing low-cost affordable daycare or affordable housing to its members, you're also meeting a larger community need of providing affordable housing in a community or providing child care to people that need it in a community. So you can see, by meeting the member needs, you're meeting the community needs, but it's not the community needs that are foremost in that situation. The other difference is in and around what you do with the profit that is made by an organization. There's a section later that talks specifically about this, but any revenue that a cooperative makes, if they are considered a non-profit corporation and have non-profit tax status, any profit that they make can't be shared with the members at the end of the year. It has to be retained by the organization to further its objects. Some cooperatives can also choose to have non-profit tax status. Many don't, but many do. If they choose to have non-profit tax status, they are also prohibited from distributing the surplus at the end of the year. So the benefit to the cooperative model in this case is that because there is still a social focus to some extent on what the cooperative is doing, even though it's meeting its member needs, cooperatives have the option to not necessarily seek non-profit tax status and still achieve those social goals and maintain the ability to distribute its surplus to members, which is not an option that exists for nonprofits. So from a financial perspective, that can be a very strong benefit. And now this can be a bit confusing in the sense of nonprofit versus for-profit, in that you don't actually incorporate a nonprofit co-op. That's a tax distinction that's made by the Income Tax Act of Canada. So in order to meet those requirements and be considered a nonprofit and be exempt from paying income tax and having these rules attached and all the benefits that come with being a nonprofit, that's not made at the provincial level when you incorporate a cooperative. That's a federal distinction that's made by Revenue Canada. So if you're interested in pursuing the nonprofit option, tax option for your cooperative, there are some things you would do when you set that cooperative up, but it's also not something where you just go and incorporate a nonprofit co-op. So that's often a source of confusion. Are there any questions about the differences between co-ops and other types of enterprises? So there are these two documents online that I would encourage you to look at. You can see the links there on your screen, and it's a good comparison model that looks at the difference between cooperatives and other forms of corporations, but also cooperatives and the differences between like a limited partnership and a sole proprietorship, which are the two very other common forms of starting a business.